Welcome to assignment number 2. You've completed assignment 1, so you now have a solid base. You know what information is needed, by whom, and also why. And that's a big deal. But here's the thing, requirements on their own, they don't deliver anything. Someone has to take those requirements and turn them into a plan, a real plan, who's doing what, when it's due, and also how it connects throughout the whole workflow. And that's exactly what assignment number 2 is all about. You're now stepping into the role of the lead appointed party. You're building the BIM execution plan or the information requirements planning part, and you're really explaining how the team will collaborate and how it will deliver information. You're building the master information delivery plan, the MIDP, or the information production schedule. You're basically defining who delivers what and when. Now, before Bharti gets into the demo, I want to bring in Akash here. Why is it more than just a timeline?
Yeah, it's more than just a timeline because a schedule just tells you when things are due. This task information delivery plan or production schedule is much more because it tells you who owns the task, but also what milestone it connects to, what dependencies exist between the different deliverables, and what's going to go wrong if something is late or something is not delivered on time or in quality. This is the document really that makes accountability visible. That's a completely different thing than just having a Gantt schedule and any other schedules.
And that's what we are going to share with you today in this assignment. Not just a copy and paste, but a real connected delivery plan that actually reflects how information is going to move through the whole project. So we've seen in assignment 1 how we can create all of those as information requirements. So in this assignment 2, you're going to do 3 things. You're going to complete the BEP or the information production plan in the docs module. You're going to build the master information delivery plan or the information production schedule timeline in the scope with milestones and owners and dependencies and document placeholders. And then we're going to create work packages and link them through to the models so that you can check whether the verification steps are aligned. And Bharti's going to walk us through all of these steps in the live software. So follow along, do it yourself, don't skip anything because assignment 3 depends on what you build right here. Let's go.
I'm going to invite Bharti to this project. By clicking on the project title, it takes me to the project dashboard where I can add teams, invite team members. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new team, and this is going to be our lead appointed party. The role is also going to be the lead appointed party. I could select something else as well. I just want to keep it simple. I could also select a nice color. I like this. And there is a new team. In this new team, I can start adding team members, just inviting Bharti with her email address. I'm going to make Bharti an editor, and the email invite has been sent to Bharti.
Yeah, I just received the email invite.
Great. So let's switch over to Bharti's screen to see what she sees on her screen. What do you see?
Akash just invited me to a project, and then I'm going to get into this project. I'm going to shift to docs module, and this is what I can see, the EIR template from Akash.
So you can see all of that's been completed, and then the next document down would be the BIM execution plan that you're now filling in. So let's take a look at that in our instructions. So step 2.1 is complete the BIM execution plan inside of the docs module. This is really going to define who's responsible for these roles and what approvals look like, how information will be created, and how it meets the requirements in the information requirements side from the owner, from the client. We have a checklist of things that we need to do. We're going to be going through this document, completing the fields that need to be filled in. What's great actually about having these documents inside of Planoly is that all of the fields that have been filled in already have been completed in your document as well. What I would suggest you do first of all, Bharti, is turn all of the sections that you're going to complete to be shared so that you then can focus on just the smart fields and completing those and going through that document. Let's switch back to your screen if you want to take us through that.
Yeah. So what I'll be doing in this step is filling in all the BIM execution plan sections like assessment and capability and capacity. Here, I'm just going to add information manager name. Maybe I can add my name here and save. Now for the proof of competency, I'm just going to add my CV and certification.
Just drag and drop them in.
I just have to drag and drop. So I have just added documents which just proves my competencies. Similarly, I just have to fill in all these sections.
So this is great, Bharti, yeah, but it's very similar to what we were doing in the first assignment. So let's dig into the details. I'm just going to switch over to my screen again. And in that first step, once you go through that process, you're going to share all these, publish them. You're going to make sure you get comments and you make sure you go through the approval process. It matters because it's not just a document and sending a PDF to somebody. It's actually collaborative agreements that you're creating and showing proof in this. So by uploading certificates and uploading a proof that you're actually capable and you have the capacity to achieve the results, that's what's important in that step. So we're going to move on to step 2.2, which is building in the scope this delivery planning, this production planning, and understanding what has to happen when. In the scope, we're going to create tasks that become these delivery commitments by teams. We're also going to add the logical sequence with dependencies between the tasks as well. So to start with, Bharti, let's jump and share in the scope how to access this template library and where to get access to this example project scope. Let me switch back to your screen. And if you share that workflow, that would be great.
Yeah. So as a next step, to build a master information delivery plan, I'm moving to scope module, and you can find the master information delivery plan template from Plannerly templates, example project scope. You can just add master information delivery plan to your project. So I just added the master information delivery plan, and you can see the tasks under each disciplines. And as you can see, the new milestone has been added, which is pre-construction. And then we have tasks under each disciplines. Yeah, I see some document placeholder to make them visible. I'm just adjusting my view preferences and toggling on my documents and checklists to get a clear view about the requirements for each of this task. For example, for the visualization, there has been a document placeholder made which requires MP4 format. Similarly, for the drawing packages, I can see I have been asked to produce floor plans, exterior elevation, and all of this in PDF. And few of the cost plan has got some of these checklists which I have to meet it.
Great. So this is a grid of requirements with the tasks and not only what the name is, who should do it, and the milestone, but also the actual deliverables defined in the form and the format and a placeholder so that it can receive it when it's actually ready, when it's produced. That's great. Let's just jump back to the instructions. So we've now got this set up with all of these tasks, but maybe if we look at this milestone order, the operation milestone is before the pre-construction milestone. How can we reorder these milestones? Let me switch back to your screen to share how we can go about updating the milestones.
Yeah, to update the order of the milestone, just click on a milestone and you can drag and drop in the order which you wanted the milestones and just save it. So now you can see pre-construction milestone has moved first, and then we have the operation milestone.
Great. That's easy. So, okay, we've now set up the milestones. Let's start to understand what each one of these tasks is. So once we've got a list of these tasks, how do we understand a bit more about them? Maybe you could click on one of those cells in the grid and share what we see. Yep, great.
So once you click on the task, you can see there are different task fields available. Right now, I can see description, checklist, and information requirements, and then document requirements. Also, you can add any custom task fields which you wanted, like cost fields or date fields. You can do that here. And also on the tracking part, I can see who is the responsible team for this particular task. And then right now, this task was not assigned to anyone. And I can also see some dates which hasn't been defined yet.
Yep, it's great that when you brought this in, that all of the information came with them. So the teams assigned and all of the requirements. So you can templatize your workflows and bring them into Plannerly really quickly. And when you click on a task, it brings up all that information, rich data about the task that you can then agree to with the right teams. Okay, that's great. What about if you wanted to actually add one of those as a document placeholder, something that somebody has to deliver? How do you go about doing that?
You can add document placeholder in two ways. You can just run the task and then click on a site plan. I'm just requesting a site plan PDF to be added in my drawing package, and just selecting the format, and then it does created me a document placeholder for the site plan now.
Okay.
The other way of doing it is just by click on the add button within the grid.
And these placeholders, they are essentially version 0 of a document. So they're not actually a version yet. And inside, yeah, that's great. Show us in File Manager where you can see these.
So in the file manager, all the document placeholder which has been requested in the MIDP, the version it's mentioned as 0 because we haven't added any document to this. It's just a placeholder.
So when they actually add either to the File Manager or to the task later on, that will automatically map to those requirements and fulfill the deliverables. That's a pretty cool workflow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. We've shared there how to define those requirements, how to define placeholders for documents that are requested or drawing packages or any form or format. We saw there an MP4 file for a fly through. So that's all about what is required and who has to actually deliver it, and even the form and format. But what about the when? When are people going to be delivering this? And what are the dependencies? What are the things that are important before and after these tasks? Can you share how to switch between the grid view and the timeline view?
Yeah, to add dependencies and durations and timelines for these tasks, I'm just switching to timeline view. You can switch to timeline view from here. And as you can see already, the MIDP has some dependencies set for each task. But what I'm going to do, the visualization dependencies has not been created yet. I'm just gonna make this.
So you hover over the end, you can see the small node that you can then start dragging and adding a dependency between two tasks. And then to actually set the time on those tasks,
I'm just on the calendar. You can mention the start date, finish date, and you can set the duration. Now I just wanted like 7. I just changed to 7 days as my duration. And as you can see, the duration is being adjusted for that particular task.
Great. And the first task there was an unscheduled task. So it's not included at the moment. But if you move it slightly, it will then move the cascading series of tasks as well and be included in the parent hierarchy. Great. Fantastic. So we now have a set of tasks with dependencies. So we understand what needs to happen before another task can start. We also see who is responsible for these tasks, and we see the durations of the tasks. We see exactly what those tasks are. So if you open one of those tasks as well, you can see that these are exactly the same as the set of tasks that are in the grid. By double clicking on a task, you can then see, look, we're waiting for the MP4 file from this team. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we see the timeline. We can see the dependencies between them. We've got this long list of tasks. Let's start using the concept of work packages so that we can assign a group of tasks much more clearly to the deliverables in the modeling sequence as well. So what we're going to do here now is to make sure that each task is assigned to a specific team. Let me just switch back. Bharti, can you share that?
Yeah. So I'm just moving back to my grid view to make sure all the task has been assigned to a team so that we can filter it down to create work packages. Right now, I can see master information delivery plan. The teams has been assigned for this. But as I can open the information requirements, which we defined in assignment 1, hasn't got any team assignment done yet. I can see for architecture, ABC manager, I'm going to change it to architecture. I'm just assigning this to an architect team. To quickly do this one, I'm just going to select the quick assign tool. I'm just going to select the contractor as the team responsible for mechanical and electrical tasks, and I just going to quickly assign it to them. So as you can see, all the task has been assigned to our responsible teams now.
That's cool. It looks like all the teams assigned. How would you go about just making sure that every task is assigned to a team?
I can quickly filter it down to an assigned, so I can see the task which has not got the assigned responsible team members. So I don't find any matches.
I like it. Okay. So let's switch back and see, we've assigned everything to team members and we use this quick assign tool in the top right corner. Now let's take a look at how we package this scope up into what we call work packages and start to understand how we deliver against these work packages. So to start with, we will see that there are no work packages created, and maybe by creating a filter first and then saving it as a work package, that would be useful to be able to see. So Bharti, could you share maybe how you would filter down for just the architect's work and maybe another package for the contractor's work as well? Let me share back your screen.
Yeah, now to create work packages, I'm just going to filter it down. To access the work packages, you have to click on all scope and then you click just add work packages here or for the teams, but you can use different filters to create work packages. But here I'm using all teams and selecting architects filter, and I'm just naming it. I'm just naming it as architecture work packages and I'm saving it. As you can see, once I created the work packages, right now all you can see only the architecture responsible tasks is visible. And similarly, I'm going to add one more work package and filter it down to contractors to create a MEP work package and save it.
So you could create this and maybe filter it by milestone or filter it by folder or team member. So you can start to be really clear, and those work packages can then become part of the tender and appointment workflow as well.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to assign models to this work packages because it gets much easier during the verification stage. I'm going to assign architecture model to an architecture work packages.
Where do these models come from?
It's demo model available in Plannerly for this assignment purpose. Only if they're on the free account, and even the education account has the free model available. And I'm assigning the MEP model to an MEP work packages. So right now you can see the MEP work packages with MEP tasks, and to switch back, you can click on all scopes so you can able to see all the tasks. Yeah.
Great. So now we've split the work up into work packages. We've got a work package for architecture and a work package for MEP. And then the models that were assigned were actually inside of the project already as part of this assignment. But if you have models, you can then obviously upload your own or connect them into your CDE where you've got your models housed, and they will synchronize and then automatically check. We'll see that in a later step. So we've answered that tender with our capability, and we've actually started to populate a list of all of the requirements and made sure that those are assigned to teams, and we have a sequence that is actually going to be delivered, making sure that everything has a date and an accountable team right the way through that workflow. And we've even started to batch them up into what we call work packages. Let's now create our tender response. And in order to do that, we're going to simply export a document, and we're going to combine it with a cover page with the document that we've created in the docs, and then also the grid and also the timeline as well. So we can combine all of these parts into one single output, all very quickly and all nicely formatted and joined together with page numbers and tables of contents and everything automated for us. So Bharti, could you share with us how you go about creating this tender response?
Yeah, I just gonna combine my BIM execution plan, which I created, and all the delivery schedule, including the timelines. I just have to export this document. I'm gonna add necessary details. I wanted to see document details, document index, and I'm gonna select the BEPs. And from the scope, I just wanted to see the grid, and I'm including the timeline as well. So I get to see the timelines included in my document. Then timeline, I just gonna name this document as an appointment document, which includes BP and my BP. And I'm gonna create this document.
Fantastic. So that literally is your delivery plan. It's ready. And the next step will be that we'll be moving to the verification and the check. Great. So this document has everything from our execution plan to the grid of requirements to the timeline and everything in between. All of those parts of the document all combined into a tender or appointment set that really can be understood and contracted to, and is a smart contract that's linked to these tasks. And you'll see the verification tied to that later on. Fantastic. So that was really quick to create the appointment document with everything from the BIM execution plan right the way through to the grid of requirements and the timeline and everything in between. It was all cut and sliced and has nice headers and footers and hyperlinked all the way through the document. And what's great about that is it's tied to the live plan. So now we've got an archive as a PDF that can be contracted, but we also have that live plan that can receive documents as part of that update. And you can see the progress actually dashboarded throughout the workflow. More on that later. So that's assignment number 2 done. You've completed the BIM execution plan, the structured scheduler requirements, timeline, the master information delivery plan with all of the milestones and dependencies and work packages, and link them to real models. That's your delivery plan. And you can notice how it's connected directly back to the EIR that you built in assignment 1. And every requirement has an owner, it has a date and a clear path to delivery. We'll see you in assignment 3.